Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of the Fishing Teacher, and really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to spend some time with me on the video today. We're going to be talking about fishing lipless crankbaits in cold water today. Now we're talking about cold water. I'm talking about the months of January, February, and March for the most part. This is one of the best ways to catch big fish in the pre-spawn time of the year in late winter. A lot of people don't do it. So I'm going to describe in today's video exactly the conditions that works best in. So if you get these conditions where you're fishing at, you can tie on a lipless crankbait and probably catch some good fish. So we'll get into that in today's video. Also guys, a couple quick things before we get started. I just want to remind everybody, anyone interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, you can do that by going to my Facebook page, Randy Blockett Professional Angler, and just shoot me a private message. Doing a lot of on-the-water trips right now for jerkbait fishing if you're interested. And also guys, please check out my Fish the Moment lake map breakdowns. These are great resources to learn more about your favorite lake for all year long. Gives you a bunch of good places you can go straight to and start catching fish at. So I'll put my lake map breakdown link in the description of this video as well. Appreciate that. Okay guys, lipless crankbaits in the wintertime is probably one of the most underrated techniques in bass fishing. Now, a lot of people that fish grass lakes, like if you guys fish Sam Rayburn Lake or Toledo Bend or any lake that has grass in it, Florida lakes, people have known how effective that lipless crankbaits are over grass for a long time, because that's a great way to catch fish in the middle of the winter in Florida or Texas or anywhere there's grass, is simply by slow rolling these lipless crankbaits over those top of those submergent grass beds. But most people don't have grass in the lakes they fish. Most of us have man-made impoundments without grass, and this is still a great technique to catch fish on during cold water. So let me describe the situations here first that it works best, and I'm going to show you some of my favorite baits and sort of talk a little bit about how to fish them. If you get a situation out there where the water temperature is like between upper 40s to upper 50s, usually between January and March, this is prime temperature for a lipless crankbait. On top of that, once you have the combination of the right water clarity and cover with that water temperature, it adds up to a perfect scenario. So here's what you want to have as far as perfect water clarity with that. You need to have water visibility of about 2 to 3 feet's perfect, within that range there, but it needs to fall within like 2 to 3 foot of visibility for this to work really good. Maybe sometimes on a cloudy day, you can catch them in a little cleaner water, or if it's a bright and sunny, you might be able to catch them in 1.5 feet of visibility, but I like 2 to 3 foot visibility. The next thing that you have to have with that is you've got to have some type of a rocky bank cover that has a fairly flat slope to it, but nevertheless close to deep water. So my favorite type of areas are getting on like flatter, gravelly clay banks or small rock that have some proximity to deep water. And what I'm doing is I'm taking the lipless crankbait on those flatter banks, and I like to put my boat, say, in like 10 to 15 foot of water, and I'll throw up there on those flat banks or those flat points, and I let the bait hit the bottom, and I just slowly start reeling it along the bottom. And if I'm hitting the bottom, I'll speed it up a little bit to keep it, off the bottom. But if I feel like the bait is rising too far off the bottom, I let it drop down. So I'm always, what I'm trying to do is I'm throwing it out there, I'm letting it float to the bottom, and then I'm just reeling it fast enough just to keep it just off the bottom like that. And occasionally I'll pump it, maybe just pull it up and come down, pull it up and come down. But I don't mind if I'm occasionally touching the bottom, because that tells me that I'm close to my strike zone. So I'm just trying to keep it close to the bottom as long as I can before the bait starts coming up. Now, that slow retrieve is critical in that cold water. So what you're wanting to do is you're wanting to reel this bait just fast enough where you start getting that vibration to it. It doesn't have to be very fast. A lot of people, they equate fishing a lipless crankbait with fishing it fast through the water column, but you want to fish it just slow enough to just where it's wiggling like that. It doesn't have to be wiggling very much, just sort of inactive. Most of the time I'm fishing it like on some type of a 7 foot medium action. You want a soft tip for this, usually like 12 to 15 pound test Seaguar and Vizix line. Now the 4 ones that I use, guys, I have 4 different ones that I have done pretty good on. Probably my favorite are these 2 right here. This is the Yozuri or Rattling Vibe, and this is the Megabass Vibration X. Also, guys, I'll link all these. I'll put my vibrating crankbait link and my tackle warehouse link in the description of this video if you guys would like to order some. But these two right here, the Yozuri right here and the Mega Bass, these fall faster than the other two that I'm talking about. So if I'm fishing water that's a little bit deeper, or say on a windy day, or I really want to get it close to the bottom, these are my two. And I really, really like the Rattle and Vibe. The Rattle and Vibe works really, really good in this situation. These are pretty fast falling lipless crankbaits. So a little bit deeper water, or if the wind's blowing. Now, if I want to keep the bait shallower and I feel the fish are shallower, like maybe, you know, the water's a little bit more off colored, or the days that you don't have much wind, that's when I'll go to the Strike King Red Eye Shad or just the old school rattle trap. Now, these fall significantly slower than the Rattle and Vibe and the Mega Bass. So I'm gonna guess that these things fall about twice as slow. So therefore, I use it if the fish I feel are more in that 3 to 5 foot zone, or like I said, on those days that you don't have much wind with that. But I really just mix it up, you know, depending upon the mood of the fish. Sometimes they just like one over the other, because each one of these lipless crankbaits I showed you here, it has a different vibration on it. It displaces water differently in the water, and they all have different profiles. So a lot of times you just have to mix it up and experiment with different ones. Another thing, guys, I do like some type of a shad pattern in the wintertime. I've laid out some chrome ones, but most of the time I like a flatter finish like this over the chrome. It just seems like a flat finish shad pattern works really good for me. Anyway, guys, give it a try, man. If you're fishing out there and you got water between upper 40s, upper 50s, you're on some flat banks, give the lipless crankbait a try, man. It catches good ones. The average size of a bass in the pre-spawn that you catch on a lipless crankbait are far and above about any other lure category out there. So one of my favorite ways to catch them. And like I talked about in my video earlier today, I did on my other channel, Advanced Bass Fishing, the biggest limit of fish I ever caught in my entire life was on a lipless crankbait in March on Lake Murray in South Carolina. So hope it helps you guys out. We'll see you later.